Hi everyone, welcome back to our Shout podcast. I hope you've been enjoying the sunny weather like we have recently. I'm Rebecca, content editor here at Firefighters Charity, and this month we're shining a spotlight on something really close to our hearts, our incredible volunteers. They're at the heart of everything we do here at Firefighters Charity, and if you've ever thought about getting involved, this is the episode for you. We'll be chatting about some of the exciting volunteering roles available and the difference they can make, not just to others, but to your own well-being too. First up, I'm joined by Rebecca Webster, our Organisational Development and People Partner. She gives us a great overview of the huge value volunteers bring and what kind of roles are out there for those looking to lend a hand. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining. Tell me about some of the varied volunteering roles that we have available through our charity at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Of course, we've got a range of volunteering opportunities here at Firefighters Charity. There's lots available for people, whether it's at our centres or whether it's remote across the UK. Some of our roles include our visitor services volunteers. We have a garden volunteer, our estate supports volunteers, we have telephone befrienders.
And just as a couple of examples out of that, tell me a little bit about what the visitor service volunteer role includes. What kind of things do they do?
Our visitor service volunteer roles are fabulous roles. They're based at our centres and they meet and greet our service users at the first point of their stay. Part of their role is to sort of offer that friendly face, offer a warm welcome. They offer a tour of our facilities, a briefing session on what our service users can expect when they stay. Essentially, they're there to help settle our service users in and help orientate those coming to stay with us.
Perfect. It's pretty important, I imagine, when a few people must feel a little bit anxious when they're first joining.
It's really daunting not knowing what to expect. And I think if someone's there who can offer that friendly face, answer any questions, it just helps. And it's a fabulous role. It's so valuable. We're really grateful for those who do it.
So would you say for the visitor services volunteer role in particular, do they need to have been to a centre and had our support, or can they be anyone who hasn't been, but they might get that training when they do come?
Yeah, sure. Anyone can be a visitor services volunteer. We've got volunteers who have been to our centres and that role has appealed to them. But it can be anyone, as long as, the person that is warm and friendly and open, they're happy presenting to a small group. It can be a really lovely role, and it's really helpful to have that sort of friendly face at that first point as someone comes in to one of our centres.
What day of the week largely would it be that the visitor service volunteers come into the centres?
It's normally a Sunday that our visitor service volunteers are there sort of towards the end of the afternoon as our service users start to arrive. And we ask our volunteers to sort of give a commitment of a couple of hours.
You also mentioned that there's some roles available in our estates and gardening. What kind of things would that involve? Is it quite a varied role?
Yes, they are. They're lovely roles. They work alongside our estates teams at our centres. They help to support with ensuring our facilities are maintained and that we can offer a relaxing environment for those staying with us. So some of the tasks varied. We might ask for some fence painting or some light gardening, planting. It all helps.
Obviously, it's an incredibly rewarding role, I'm sure, whatever it is that people take on. What are some of those benefits that people might expect from taking on a volunteer role for us?
Oh, there's so many benefits. Many people volunteer because they want to give something back. They may have a personal connection with the fire service or with the local area. They've got skills that they can offer us, and equally, they've got skills that they may learn. We never stop learning, and they can take those skills on to new opportunities. It's a great way to meet new people. It's a fabulous way of being part of our teams and developing connection with others, all whilst trying to support our charity.
And that's probably worthwhile saying, actually. It's another way of supporting the work that we do. Not a monetary way, essentially, but it's a really, really valuable way of giving back to us and the support we offer. Have you heard positive feedback from some of our volunteers that are currently in roles?
Yeah, I love getting feedback from volunteers. It's really special. It's lovely to hear how they become involved. Lots of our volunteers talk about the connections they've made and how they enjoy working alongside our teams. More recently, a visitor services volunteer said that they felt they were a good match. They'd seen an advert for a visitor services role and they applied straight away. It's great to hear that they felt that they could offer their skills to us.
Oh, brilliant. And how can people actually go about applying to be a volunteer and to find out more about the roles first of all and then to apply?
Yeah, sure. On our website, we've got a volunteers page, which will tell you all about us and what volunteer roles we have available at the moment. They can click on our website or they can check out the podcast show notes.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining.
Thank you.
Please remember to rate, follow or subscribe to the show on your usual podcast platform to keep up to date with this and more of our episodes. If being outdoors is more your thing, you'll want to hear from our next guest, Jonny Hincks. He's a firefighter from Warwickshire who's discovered a real love for gardening. He shares how spending time outdoors has helped his mental well-being and why he'd recommend anyone living close to a centre look into roles in our estates and gardens. Thank you so much, Jonny, for chatting to me today. I just wanted to ask you to start with to tell us a little bit more about yourself. So what your role is in the fire service, first of all.
Yeah, so my name's Jonny Hincks. I'm a firefighter for Warwickshire Fire and Rescue Service. And my station is the Nuneaton Fire Station. And I'm here basically to talk about gardening and how much of a hobby it is for me. And if anything, it's turned into more than just a hobby as well. It's now become a bit of a social media, like crazy sensation sort of thing now. So it kind of exploded on social media. So that's me in a nutshell.
I mean, it's a unique angle, isn't it? You've got a firefighter who's into doing his gardening and an Instagram star. I mean, it's quite the combination that you've created. It's brilliant. So I just wanted to ask you as well, first of all, your connection and how you first heard about our charity. So I believe you've had support. Is it at Harcombe House that you first visited?
Yeah, I had some support at Harcombe House. I unfortunately had a very nasty rugby injury, which caused me to have pretty much, I think it was nearly 5 months off work. It was a pretty serious leg injury. I had to have a quite major operation on my ankle. And at one point I was actually concerned I wasn't going to be able to go back on the run. I was concerned I wasn't going to be able to go back to the job I absolutely love. And I think within days after having surgery, I phoned the charity because I was worried how my mental state would be, because I am a very active person. I love the gym, I love gardening, I love being outdoors, and I was very worried about my mental state. So I phoned the charity and was like, look, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm fine at the minute, but come a couple of months down the line where, I'm still hobbling around, I'm a little bit concerned. They recommended if I go to respite at Harcombe House, and I applied and got accepted. Took the whole family to Harcombe House. I dragged them with me, and we had such a lovely time. It is a beautiful place, beautiful part of the country, and we loved it that much. We actually booked a family holiday there the following year. And we had such a lovely time. There's so many nice places around there. Harcombe House itself is lovely. There's walks, there's nature. Everything about the place is just so nice. And we applied again for a third year and went 3 years in a row to Harcombe House. So myself love it and the whole family love it as well. It means a lot to us now.
Do you think it means a lot to you as well, just to spread the word around your colleagues, firstly in your own station, but across the UK, just to spread the word about what's available?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just firefighters that can actually go to Harcombe House. You can, I think it's on booking.com, I think.
We offer sort of holidays and rental breaks through Sykes Cottages. So yeah, that's available, yeah.
But yeah, I rave about it every time I speak to anyone on station, or if anyone's been off sick for a while, I'll just drop them a message saying, have you spoke to the firefighter charity? You guys really did help me out, and going forward, like I said, it's somewhere that really means a lot to me and the family now.
So I just wanted to then come on to your hobby of gardening and how that first began, really. When was it that you first got into it, or has it always been in your blood?
Well, it's kind of always been in my blood. My whole family's been into gardening. I'm actually half Dutch, and our family holidays when I was younger, we used to go over to Holland to see family. And one of my earliest memories, I think I was about 5, we went to go to like a tulip field, I remember standing in the tulip field thinking, "Oh my God, this is actually a thing! Like these are amazing." And the Dutch are just as keen as gardening as we are over here in the UK. I remember trying to earn a little bit of pocket money for my grandma as she got older, and I started doing gardening for her, and I learned the very hard way what was a weed and what wasn't, because she used to tell me off every time I didn't pull a weed out and pulled the wrong plant out. So,
never make that mistake again. Yeah.
No, I learned the hard way, and I'd say it wasn't until I bought my first house and we were stood in the garden, and I felt like a sense of responsibility, and then I started watching Gardener's World every Friday afternoon, every Friday evening, and I completely and utterly got the bug. And I would say I became obsessed probably around when I was 24. I'm 40 this year, so I've been obsessed for a while. But I became obsessed in my 20s, and I was looking at YouTube videos. I've never had any qualifications in horticulture. I have purely been self-taught, and it kind of just took over. Like I classed the gym and gardening as my yin and yang, so completely different, but both relax me in the same way.
No, I love that. It's mental well-being benefits attached to gardening and being outside are huge, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Did you start when you were firefighting? Had you already become a firefighter at that point?
No, I hadn't. I was in the prison service before joining the fire service. I remember I used to take my Gardener's World magazines into the prison, because obviously we weren't allowed to have phones. So I used to take my Gardener's World magazines in, and the prisoners would be like, "Gov, what are you reading?" I was like, Gardener's World magazine? I'm like, why? I was like, I'm into my gardening.
Never expect it.
No. But then obviously joined the fire service, and, tell the guys on station how much I love gardening. And obviously they follow me now on social media, so they like making fun of me about my social media. But yeah, it makes me laugh, because they all make fun of me on station, but individually they'll message me asking me questions about what should I do with this plant, what are sows now, how do I get my grass looking nice,
inspiring them all.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Both jobs, prison service and firefighting, but come with very unique pressures. Do you think you found personally having that outlet of going into the garden, even just having a walk, but doing a little bit of gardening, has been an outlet for you and has been a bit of a break?
I switch off. I can't explain it. I switch off. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're all aware, and I'm sure the listeners are aware, that we see some absolutely horrific things sometimes. And, if I could just go and have a little potter around in the garden, just be outside, fresh air, messing around with my seedlings, digging up some plants, having a bit of a workout in the garden as well. It's just, I can just switch off, and it just really, really does relax me.
Oh, that's amazing. What a benefit.
Honestly, I can't recommend it enough. Even if you just get a little pot, start growing one plant in there, the joy you get from keeping that plant alive is it's something else. I can't explain it. It's just amazing. I recommend gardening and being outside to anyone and everyone.
That's amazing. And like you say, I don't think it needs to be this massive project. You can start small, can't you, and just do as much as you're comfortable with.
You can have a balcony and have a small little oasis on your balcony. If you live in a flat, you can have, there's the abundance of house plants that you can have. However, I am terrible at house plants, so do not ask me for any tips for house plants, but you can have house plants as well if you live in a flat. You can garden anywhere.
No, that's brilliant. We have actually, as you mentioned, Harkham House, we've got 3 centres, as you know, across the UK. Each of them have amazing outdoor spaces, and we're always looking for volunteers to come along, spend a bit of time in the outdoor areas and help us keep them looking amazing. We have got a few volunteer roles that we are recruiting for. Do you think that's something you'd encourage people to get involved in, first of all from the gardening wellbeing side, but also just from a social side to meet people in their communities?
I mean, 100%. There's the amount of community gardens that there are, and it just really, it bonds people together. It's something to talk about. And, like I've explained before, gardening is just so relaxing, and you can, in a way, relax together. I completely recommend it. And
also just volunteering as a whole. Do you think it's important to socialise as much as you can with people around you and get outside, get out of the house, essentially?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you can help any way you can, especially with the firefighter charity, charity. I mean, you guys have helped me in this situation where I needed some help. And, you know, the best thing that other people can do is help volunteer for the charity.
When you went to Harkham yourself, does the outdoor area and the grounds and the surroundings stick in your head as being a major part of your visit there?
Oh God, yeah, 100%. I remember looking out over onto the woods at Harkham House. I was thinking, I want to get down there. I remember limping down the whole way the first time we were there. Thinking, oh God, my legs hurt. But when I got down there, I was like, oh, this was totally worth it. There's like a big lake at the bottom. It's like a forest area. It's amazing.
And just as a final message from you, you've seen the support available. Would you say just do what you can, essentially, to give back, whether that's volunteering, donating, fundraising? It could be any number of things. If you're struggling to volunteer, we tend to do at our station, the Neaton Fire Station, we have a huge open day. We really do put it all out at the Neaton Fire Station. Big shout out to Claire and Rachel who organise all of that on station. But yeah, you can do that. You can volunteer. You can donate. You know, there's quite a few ways you can help contribute to the firefighter charity, and I fully recommend it. Next, I caught up with Mike Harris, a retired firefighter who's been volunteering as part of our visitor services team at Jubilee House. He talks about why he stepped into the role, what it's meant to him, and why it's been such a rewarding way to reconnect with the wider fire service family. Hi, Mike. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. So just tell me a little bit about yourself and what position did you have in the fire and rescue service?
Yeah, well, I joined Lancashire Fire Brigade initially in 1975, January 75. Transferred to Merseyside in 77. I came from Merseyside, but I was living in Lancashire, so I went back to Merseyside in 77. I was in Wirral, Merseyside, for a few years. I went to the training school. I was in Toxteth for almost 10 years as station officer. And then I did a staff job. I was essentially, it was community services for me since I got the Queen's Fire Service Medal for community services, yeah, and which I was quite chuffed about, I must confess. But you know, we set that up, and then I really became a press officer, I suppose, towards the end, and that was about it. Yeah, that's my career in about 20 seconds.
When was it that you actually retired from the fire service?
I retired in 2002. March 2002, when I was 55. So I'm pretty ancient now, you know, I'm 78 now.
Yeah. Not at all. Did you carry on working when you left the fire service, doing anything else at all?
We moved to Dumfries, and I decided I needed something to do. I had a bus driving licence, so I went and joined a local coach company. And then the guy who was running it said, there's a contract coming up for a school contract for a minibus. Why don't you put in for it? So I did, and set up my own small company, you know, which ran, well, roughly for about 15 years, I suppose. And I retired from that. I did various voluntary things as well, but I retired from that in, 2 years ago? Yeah, just under 2 years ago. And that's when I decided that, you know, I needed to do something. I didn't just want to sit at home doing nothing, you know. So we live on, it's a wee small holding. There's about 8 acres of land here, so there's a bit to do. I got in touch with the charity because I think it had been probably on the website or in an email, we're looking for volunteers. So I rang up, got in touch with Jubilee House, and they said, yeah, come in and have a look. So I went along. Andy, who was the manager there, he was very helpful. And then the various reception staff, Carol in particular, they sort of showed me the ropes. I sat in a few times with somebody else who was doing visitor services, and then I started doing it myself.
Amazing. Tell me a little bit about what the role includes. So I think you come in on a Sunday, don't you? And then what would like a typical day look like for you?
When people arrive, go and meet them at their car, welcome them, give them a hand with their luggage, especially if it's nursing people, you know, who need assistance.
So that would largely be people that were on a programme then that week, would it?
That's right, yeah. And then basically whatever needs doing during the day, I do. And then at 5 o'clock, I do the welcome speech. And then, we go through the the presentation, tell them various rules and regulations and whatever, what you can do, what you can't do, what you should do. Show them around the premises. That doesn't take very long. And then I'm getting hungry because I'm smelling the dinner, which is quite Jubilee house. I'm thinking it's going to take me nearly an hour to get home and I'm starving. Every Sunday I think, I wish I could have my dinner here. So, and then, so that's me finished around about 6 o'clock, somewhere around there, yeah.
Perfect. Do you think it's quite valuable just being on site when they're arriving? Because I know a few of them might feel a little bit apprehensive about what's to come, just to be a bit of a reassurance for them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, especially people who are there for the first time. People who have been there a couple of times before, maybe, they're used to it, they're comfortable with the site, they know where they're going, they know what's happening. Whereas somebody who's there for the first time, they've not got the idea about what's going on, really. So, you don't sort of go out and say, calm down or anything. You just you go out there and welcome them, and, give them a join hand with your luggage, bring it in, introduce them to whoever's on reception. It's usually Jan when I'm on. And then she'll register them in. Then I'll take them to their room, help them to their room with their luggage and etc. If they need that, sometimes, obviously they don't. They can just do it themselves. And then generally have a chat. If it's somebody I know, which is quite often the case, actually, then, we'll have a longer chat probably, and sometimes it's not just somebody you know, but it's somebody who knows somebody you know.
Oh, lovely. So if someone was listening to this and wanted to take on this role themselves, would you say it was quite... there was a lot of training available and it's quite an easy process to get involved in it from the start?
Yeah, training is pretty minimal, really, because there's not a lot to train, but that's certainly, the assistance is there, whatever you need. It's not a problem. The staff at Jubilee House are great. They'll talk you through if you've got a problem, quite often, I'll sort of suddenly think to myself, I didn't know that, I'll have to ask somebody, even though I've been there a year or so, I'll have to ask somebody, just, what do you do here or what do you do? The only bit I find challenging is the flipping computer.
You won't be alone in that. And obviously, as you know, Jubilee House is one of 3 centres, and we've got the opportunities at all 3 of them now. Do you think, just for people that are living within a drivable kind of distance or public transport distance, it is a valuable thing to do and an enjoyable role?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I thoroughly enjoy it. Not just it's beneficial to the charity, but it's certainly beneficial to me as well. I get a lot out of it. I enjoy talking to the people, listening to people's experiences. And different people, they'll want to talk about different things. Sometimes somebody will maybe say, oh, yes, I was injured here, this is what happened. Other times they don't want to talk about it. So fine, you just, you just do, you react to the way they're talking to you. And it's a cracking job. I really enjoy it, and I think if you live within the area, certainly, then do it.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Mike. It sounds like a really enjoyable role for people to take on. To wrap up this month's episode, I'm joined by Kayleigh McInnes, one of our brilliant station reps and company members. Over the years, she's helped raise thousands of pounds for the charity, both personally and by inspiring her colleagues to get involved as well. She talks about what being a volunteer means to her and why she thinks others should give it a go. Thank you so much, Kayleigh, for joining me today and to talk about a little bit about your volunteering role. So could you just start by telling me a bit about what you do? So first of all, your role in the fire service and also what you do for our charity.
I'm a watch commander for Scottish Fire and Rescue Service whole time, based at Renfrew Fire Station at the moment. For the Firefighters charity, I am a station rep, a company member and a charity ambassador.
Just tell me a bit about what each of those roles involve and why it was that you took each of them on, what inspired you.
So the station rep one is more like organising the open days, car washes, that kind of thing, or being a point of contact for people that maybe need the charity's help and don't know how to go about, booking Penrith or that type of thing. Charity ambassadors, mainly sharing things on Facebook, anything that comes up for the charity. Again, updating my notice boards within the station, just basically making sure people know what's available to them and keeping them up to date with any relevant days that are coming up that the charity is doing. So, it's great fun.
Brilliant. And then you're also, did you say you're also a company member for the charity as well?
The company member, but that's kind of a place where you can go put across your views, find out more. Again, it's networking, meeting other people that are like-minded, getting ideas from them for fundraising, all sorts of things, and getting a better kind of understanding of the charity and what it's all about. So it's really good.
Yeah, I guess it works both ways as well. It's really helpful for us as a charity to hear from people on the ground in fire services, do you think, and sharing those views and with other fire and rescue services across the UK?
There's a lot of differences within each fire service, and maybe how different areas use the charity. So it's just kind of getting a really kind of all-round picture of what's involved and understanding as well, the pressure that's on yourselves when it comes to running the likes of Penrith and things like that. So yeah, it just gives us a better understanding.
What kind of inspired you to first get involved in these roles? Did you join sort of charity roles from the moment you joined the fire service, or did it come over time?
No, as soon as. So my dad and my grandpa were both in the fire service, and my grandpa had used Penrith, so I had been down dropping him off and was able to kind of see the benefits from that. When I joined, it was COVID, and normally every trainee's group will do something for the charity, but ours got binned because of obviously COVID and the restrictions. So after speaking with my dad, I decided to do an event myself, basically to try and help raise the money, because obviously you guys are missing out. And just from there, it just naturally took hold. So from joining, I've been involved in the charity, and it's been brilliant.
And yeah, you mentioned obviously your some of your family have had support. Have you seen some colleagues have our support as well? And does that kind of inspire you to keep supporting us, seeing where those funds go?
Oh yes, 100%. So there's been a good few colleagues. A lot of the firefighters, play football and things like that, so there's a lot of knee injuries, a lot of back injuries.
Yeah, I bet.
So yeah, I have had a lot of friends and colleagues use it. I've referred quite a few people, and also colleagues who have maybe got family members that are needing help. So it's been really good to have that knowledge there to say to people, well, why don't you try the charity? Again, a lot of people maybe don't know what exists, so that's where the station rep's a good thing. It's just the fact that you know that it's always there for you. And for me, this type of thing, a charity, if you don't help out and you don't use it, you lose it. So it's just such a great benefit for firefighters and their families.
Fantastic to hear from you and your sort of first-hand experience of seeing your family go through it. Do you have a particularly memorable moment, certainly from your role as a station rep and organising those fundraising events? Do you have a particularly memorable one that you've helped to organise and made a difference with?
Well, there has been quite a few. I would say there's two that kind of stick out for myself most is the London Marathon, because I don't think I'd ever got a space on that if it wasn't for being able to get a charity position. And with that, you had a certain amount of money to raise. So again, that got a lot of the stations involved, doing wee nights out, doing car washes. So it was a real good community feel about it as well. And actually completing the marathon and getting to go down there and feel the experience, and it's something I'll never forget.
No, I can imagine. I certainly couldn't take one on myself. They're massive efforts, so good work. And you said you did like a bit of a varied fundraising for that, didn't you? So you did obviously open days and that kind of thing, but also did you say like evenings and nights out and that kind of thing? Yeah,
so that one we did a race night, and I think from there that gave me appetite. So every year now since, I have done either a ladies' lunch or a race night style thing. So I'm trying to make it a yearly thing that we do this one social event, because it does bring in a good amount of money. Again, it brings a lot of folk together, family members from the fire service that can come in and have a great day out, but also learn a bit more about what it is that we do.
No, it's amazing. It's a really good idea. I think a lot of people don't realise the breadth of fundraising events that you can organise. So it's a really good example of one that makes a massive difference. That's fantastic. Just tell me, how do you find balancing the work for the charity that you do with your own firefighting role? Would you say it's quite difficult, or have you found that a fairly easy balancing act?
Oh, I found it really easy. The fire service never the charity never pressures you into anything. They'll ask and make sure you're available. It's entirely up to you whether you want to give your time up. I don't ever feel pressured into anything. I quite enjoy doing the extra work. I quite enjoy organising things. So the balancing for me is fine. Especially being on the shifts, you've got plenty of time off, so plenty of time to get involved.
We're obviously always looking for people to get involved from right across the UK in similar roles like yours. Would you encourage them to, and would you sort of put their mind at rest that it's not it's not going to take over their life, for example? It's something that is quite rewarding.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I don't think you can do it from trainee right up to assistant chief or whatever. It's a role there for everybody. Myself, I've just set up a Living Well group in Greenock, so there's loads of different things. You're not set to doing just one certain thing. Even at station, if you do one car wash a year, that still massively benefits the charity. It's up to yourself how much you want to take on board, but I would encourage everybody to get involved.
While you're making a huge difference to the charity, it's also probably quite a social thing, is it? Have you networked quite a lot and met a lot of people across your service that you might not otherwise have seen?
100%, yeah. I'm a very social person, and so I do enjoy that side. With the car washes and things, it brings in the community. So there's the community side of it, plus you're meeting loads of people from around the service.
Thank you so much, Kayleigh. That's been really, really interesting hearing your experiences. Thank you to Rebecca, Mike, Jonny and Kayleigh for chatting in this month's episode. It's been brilliant hearing all their stories and getting a glimpse into the different ways people are making a difference through volunteering. If you're feeling inspired and want to find out more about the roles we've mentioned or others that might suit you, just head to the link in the show notes. And if you have a volunteering story to tell, you can find details on how to get in touch with us in the show notes too, as well as details on how to access our support. See you next time.
If you liked Shout podcast, you're going to love My Firefighters Charity, the new social media wellbeing and fundraising app for the fire services community. Packed with great wellbeing content from the expert teams at the Firefighters Charity, you can connect with others, join groups, collaborate and have fun with your fire family friends across the UK. And you can get the advice and help you're after from the Firefighters Charity whenever you need it. Head to your app store, search for My Firefighters Charity and register for free today.